Well, good morning and welcome to another Memphis Monday. Today we're going, if you remember, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I don't remember exactly when, we, yeah, I do remember. It was, I think it was about 103, 3 weeks ago then. We built this shotgun stock for this old Ithaca shotgun. And today we're going to checker the gun stock. Checkering is the little hash marks on the wood to give it a little bit more grip. Today we're going to see what's involved with checkering. One quick disclaimer, and that is the point of this video is just for you to see what's involved. This isn't a tutorial. There's much better tutorial videos on the internet, and you need a tutorial and a book and practice and all that kind of stuff before you do this. This is just, if you don't know anything about it and you're thinking about doing it, this kind of gives you a feel for what the process is all about and how you do it. But we're not going to get anything done unless we do what? That's right. We need to get out of this chair, knock off the talk, and get to work. First thing you got to get in touch with on this checkering is the various tools. You can buy these tools where they're $100 a piece, but you can buy these little kits, and the kit's real cheap and it works good. See, I'm making lines. Okay, so that's the right-hand cutter. The left-hand cutter, same deal. Only it goes, the smooth goes into the line like that. Okay, next thing is that you need to keep in mind is that if you just jump in there and just buy the kit and put your gun stock up on the bench and start cutting, you're going to get a big surprise, because this checkering takes considerable skill and considerable practice. So you can see that I've done quite a bit of practice just to learn how to do it. Here I got a round piece of stock and checkered it all the way around. Checkering there, checkering here, all kinds of checkering. Here is the two designs we're going to put on the gun stock. This will go on the forestock here. It's actually, smaller. Also, another thing to remember is that you probably need to start on some small stock, on some flat stock like this, just to learn how to do it. Doing it on a curved surface like that is much more difficult, and you need to master this here before you go to this. Okay, the first thing you do is you put your pattern, you mark your pattern on your stock like this. This is a piece of practice. I actually got some checkering right here. But you get your layout lines all set up. And then you start marking off your checkering. So I'll mark off this one right here first. So I'm going to use the left cutter, and the smooth will go in that layup line right there. Now this is the point I want to make. To see these two lines right here that go all the way through, these are the master lines, and all your checkering will come off of those lines. So those are the only two lines you're going to need. Actually, you don't even need to put both of these lines in, because you want them to come out the center. So, but I'll show you that on the piece. Okay, so now I start marking these things off. Another piece of gear you're going to need is a little magnifying, some kind of magnifying headgear. It's also cheap. I don't know what I paid for this, 10 bucks or something, but pretty handy. Comes with various lenses, but you really need this to see your work. Okay, it's like on our practice piece over there. A lot of guys use clamps or what's called a checkering cradle. Other guys don't use any cradle. Since my pieces are small, I'm not using the checkering cradle. I built a fitting to hold that other piece over there, but I found I had to turn it so often that it didn't really work. Okay, so I'm using my right-handed cutter. Now my right-handed cutter, the smooth side of the cutter will go in the previous line. And just step it off. Now, don't use very much pressure, and don't make your marking lines too deep, because if you make it too deep, then your next line won't line up, because it'll cause the cutter to be lopsided, and you want that thing to be perfectly flush. And so I know you can't probably see it very well, but I had these magnifying glasses, so I'm right in there. Okay, I'll go ahead and finish all the lines that are going this way off of this master line, and then we'll come back when we start going the other way. Okay, you see here that I didn't put a layup line along here that defines this, because what's really going to define this layup line is where these spacing lines end up. So I'll continue to put spacing lines until I reach the correct point, and then that will be my this layup line right here. Okay, what I'm doing now is I got all the lines going this way. Now this is my other master line here, and I'm putting the lines in the other direction. Now this is a little bit harder because you're kind of going over a bumpy surface, so you got to be real careful. And if you start making mistakes, take a break and stop pressing so hard. And after you get the, another thing you need is a light to, and that light has to come in from the side so you can see what you're doing. So it's got this drop light. Okay, next thing you do after you put in all the lines, what I'm doing here is I'm going through with this tool right here. This is a layout tool. It's got the single cutter, and I'm going through and carefully deepening these lines. Okay, what I'm doing now is kind of going around the pattern here and putting a little border with my double cutter. I don't have a lot of run out, but this will clean up whatever run out I do have. Here's the original 4-stock, and here's the one we just did. Let's look at this one. You can just barely see the checkering on it because it's been painted over. And here's one we just did. Okay, let's put some stain on this and see what kind of damage we can cause. And you notice from I'm using I'm dyeing it, or putting stain called chestnut on it. The whole gun stock, as a matter of fact, making it darker. Well, the stain's not dry yet, but there's our checkering job on the 4-stock. Let's get to work on the pistol grip. I'm working on the pistol grip now. Putting the lines in. I already got the other side. Roughed out. I took a little longer because trying to figure out how big to make it and everything. Okay, here I'm cleaning out or deepening the lines. We talked about this before. This is where the light is really necessary. It has to be a light that's coming in from the side. And you need this magnifying headpiece here so you can even see these lines, because what I'm doing here is putting on a kind of a border around it using my my double line tool. They make a bordering tool that's a little bit different than the double V cutter. I don't have one. Well, there's our checkering job on the pistol grip. Let's go put some stain on it. I use the same stain we used on the forestock. Well, there's our checkering job on the pistol grip, and there's our forestock. I'll let that stain dry for a couple of days before I put any oil on it. Well, that'll do it for another Memphis Monday 106, checkering a gun stock. I think we've got some good takeaways today. Remember, this is not a tutorial. It's rather a familiarization video to kind of show you what checkering is all about, so that if you ever do decide to do it, you have kind of a starting point. But I think it went pretty well, and I'm satisfied with it. I'll give myself a C for my first checkering job ever. And it's tedious, but strangely quieting, and it's peaceful, and there's no noise, there's no dust. I kind of enjoyed doing it. But anyway, like and favorite and Facebook and tweet and everything else you do on the internet. But most important, what? That's right. Make sure you're back here next week for another exciting Memphis Monday. Thanks for playing along.